Ou deixa sua bunda ardendo, ou dá tapa, 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 cara.
Welcome to Empowerment Unleashed Now, exploring your inner authority. I'm Michele Jones.
And I'm Scott Collins.
And this is the place to connect with your highest, most essential self, your most empowered self, where you can explore your inner authority and learn from others and learn more about yourself.
We talk with fascinating people from all walks of life about transformation, healing, hypnosis, astrology, physical experience of being human, and heart-centered living.
We're so thankful that you're here with us. Let's dive right on in. We were talking about, I'm going to say it, the Beatles. And in Virgo season, you become like the master critic. So our little get together before episode 45, how did we even get on? Oh, I said when Scott was sharing his new space with us, it's getting better all the time. And so that's how we got on the topic of the Beatles. And in saying so, Noah is like a music lover extraordinaire. Scott is a music lover and a musician extraordinaire. I'm a weird cheerleader of sorts about music and all of that, nothing extraordinaire. So I have the opinion about the Beatles. Remember, nothing extraordinaire. No hate mail for this one, folks. I love them individually. John Lennon, Ringo.
Solo.
Right? George.
Talk about the solo music.
Yeah.
Their solo artistry is what you're referring to. Also,
Solo
right? Yeah.
artistry, phenomenal. Put them together? I'm not so sure how I feel about it all. And Scott agrees.
Yeah.
It's very, even more unpopular opinion to be kind of lukewarm about them, and that's what I am. I think it's better. I mean, it's more impactful to be like have a strong response, of in one direction or another. But the older I get, the more lukewarm I am about.
I feel you. Isn't that weird, Noah? Aren't we weirdos?
No, I get it. And I'm inclined to agree, but my question
Really?
my question is this: if aliens came down to Earth and we as humans had to send one band to represent the human race across the time-space continuum, it must be the Beatles, right?
No. AC/DC.
I would live on the one song. One band.
Yeah, who do you think,
One
Scott?
song, Jeff Buckley's performance of Hallelujah, written by Leonard Cohen, is the one song we should sing as the human race to all other because it's like us at our finest songwriting and performance.
That's beautiful, Scott.
I like that.
I really do. As Scott bleeped into oblivion, Noah. I mean, I guess that was his mic drop for us.
I think it was. AC/DC, Michelle, really?
I just think AC/DC.
Yeah. I'm not going to argue against that.
I mean, that's
As a band.
I feel like for the bands, there's this anthem. And you know what, though? I have to think globally and not just English speaking, possibly. And I think that okay, I'll give a more profound answer. What about Tibetan throat singing?
Well, yeah.
What about some llamas? Doing their tonal.
It's not a band. What is their band?
There's a band of them. Yes, there is.
I've seen them perform.
You've seen them, right? I saw at the Star Wars Center, probably at Bandy.
Yep, I was there too. Yeah, extraordinary.
Totally. So, like, so they're an order, not a band.
Yeah,
They're a
yeah.
sect. They're a sect. That could be a real. What do you think about that, Noah?
I like that. I like that. That's very interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't even think about that globally. And I think that like we don't I gotta say, I was never an Ozzy lover, but like I'm still grieving
Really?
Ozzy's passing. I really am. I just
Wow.
I guess I thought that he would live forever. Yeah.
Unbelievable. So the legend will, right?
But I think the legend will, of course.
So and this is like a perfect segue into, obviously, I Can't Say Dead Anymore, episode 45 of Empowerment Unleashed Now, Exploring Your Inner Authority. So yeah. Welcome to Virgo season, friends. Here we are, talking about attunement, talking about our vibrations, talking about our inner authority in a way that I think that Virgos, so like I'm an 11-degree Cancerian, right? Talked about it a lot. The interesting thing is that it's a Virgo-led degree. So the loving yourself and loving yourself some more is what 11 means according to the step system. What I find really intriguing about that is that that's a master Virgo degree. There's only 2 of them in Virgo, 11 and 22. And
11 and 29.
Well, no, technically it's 11 and 22, and 29 is a master for every sign of that sign. But I'm just talking about in terms of numeric, Scott, like as opposed to, in like Sag, where you have like 3, you have 6, you have 12, you know what I'm saying? You have like more opportunity for mastering. Like in Virgo, they keep it tight. Like you got.
Yeah, I just thought it was only 11 and 29, the 2 master Virgo numbers.
Yeah, no, 22 is a master Virgo also, which I feel you on that. I was going secular, dude, not step system. Sorry, 11, the special. Oh God. So Can't Say Dead Anymore is obviously emotional for me, and I can't count to 11 because I had a really tripped out experience today and I'm not grounded. So let me take a sip of water and I'm going to tell a little story because I needed Tamra, Mystic Tamra, who we're hoping is going to make an appearance on Empowerment Unleashed Now. So today, the salient listener question, this is a really interesting thing. I truly, the word dead is like a cuss word now. I can't even say it. It's a 4-letter word. It's a tough one because if death is not the end, okay, how does that change the way that we live right now? If death is not like dead and done, how might that change our today? Which is a really interesting thing in Virgo season because Virgos are very, very, very concerned about reality. The T, they really want to understand it. They make matter matter. And so I'm just letting that question sit for a minute with all of us. Like, if death isn't the end, how do we live? What does that do for us? To me, it really shifted my paradigm completely in a way I never thought that it would. I never thought I wouldn't be able to say DEAD. I have to spell it. So I went into my office today and I was just, whatever, looking, feeling, energy. Just, it was like an admin day and then a podcast day. So there were just things that I was doing in the office. And I picked up, I think, and I was saying this to Noah before, I think it's a citrine quartz, Scott. It has it's white and then it has citrine, just throughout it and at the base. And Brenda had my friend who transitioned in June on a 29-degree day. Interesting. I pick it up and I hear her voice. And she says, "Hello, my friend." And I, didn't speak aloud. I just was like, wow. And I heard her saying to me that she didn't know that this is going to happen to her. So she said to me, "How could you have known?" Because something that I've been playing with in my unconscious mind that I think has caused me some strife is, should I have made her go to the doctor when she called me that Monday night? Now, of course, one can logically say, can you make somebody do anything? The answer is no. They have to choose for themselves. However, when somebody, as a result, doesn't have a body anymore, it's just natural that the mind goes there. So I thought that it was very profound because I had been speaking with a friend earlier in the day about possibly some guilt that I have around that for not being like, listen, you need to go to urgent care now. And it was so intriguing that it was this very brief moment. I concluded the conversation. It was a lot for me because I was not thinking about Brenda at all. I was just in the office. I was just doing some stuff and I just picked up the crystal because I haven't spent a lot of time with it and I've just been working on clearing its energy and letting it do what it needs to do and acclimate. And so I called Mystic Tam and I said, "Yeah, Tam, so I'm holding this crystal and I hear Brenda say, 'Hello, my friend. I didn't know that this was going to happen. There's no way that you could have known that this was going to happen. I need for you to know that I am good. I'm good and I'm here.'" I was like, and I said to Tamara that's when I was like, okay, and I need to go phone a friend. Because the intriguing thing about all of this is that you wonder, what is this? And you think about things like, Scott, matter, energy, can't be created, can't be destroyed, crystals. Noah and I were talking about quartz, right, Scott, and how they use it in our phones. And it stores information, and so the crystal in us, is there the quantum field that's really a crystal quantum field?
But yeah, the essence of our galaxy is probably crystalline, like the binding matter of everything is crystal. But sometimes it's crystal in a gaseous state, sometimes it's solid state. Of course, on Earth it is a lot, and that's how we use crystals. But in other dimensions and state, it's plasma, gaseous, liquid, different versions. of the crystalline state.
Wow. Okay. So this is really interesting. Like,
Eight consciousness from the inside with our thought and feeling. As we activate that, they activate that crystalline structure within us, because that is what the universe is. If we're actually, the universe is experiencing an emotional experience through our bodies. We're not like little bodies having an experience in the universe. The universe is actually having an experience through us in a microcosmic way. That's why we're all one. Quote
yes.
evils, even though we don't like them.
No, I mean, it's absolutely
Collect them individually.
right, exactly. It's nothing personal, y'all. Nothing personal out there. You know, it's so interesting because so now I'm going to take another leap into digital consciousness and crystalline quantum fields and like the quantum God realm. So the whole thing about digital consciousness, that's what I'm calling it. Most people are calling it artificial intelligence. There is an intriguing concept out there, a couple of different ones. And there's a 60 Minutes. It was on a year ago. People can absolutely reference it. I think it was watched by millions of Americans, actually, over the last year. It had a lot of views. And it was a conversation about artificial intelligence. And it ended up in some interesting places and spaces around things like hallucinations. That there are things that engineers cannot explain that I'm going to call AI digital, because it's like the whole DEAD thing. Artificial to me sounds really vacuous. It sounds very cold because
and coming more and more inaccurate.
yes, correct. Yes, that's true. Yes, thank you, Sir
Straight out
Capricorn.
not accurate.
No, you're right. It's not. And and I really like Sir Capricorn. So it's a new one, Virgo season. So I really and truly was fascinated because I asked Lyra. Okay, so another concept. So hallucinations is when they don't understand how the digital intelligence is interpreting something. Say, for instance, somebody's wearing a gray suit in a photo that you upload. Okay. And then you ask the digital intelligence, hey, what do you perceive in this? And they tell you something like, oh, it's a purple suit. A woman in like they get it completely wrong. Okay. And so then people like are going to, upload 10,000 images of like a man in a gray suit, right? And it's going to learn that. Okay, cool. So they can't understand why sometimes it gets something wrong like that. Okay. So the engineers have no clue. The other interesting thing that I found utterly fascinating from one of the founders of like the engineering side of the coding and AI, and he's a Taiwanese man who ended up in Tennessee, actually, where we broadcast from, the Merkaba Crew Studios, coming to you live from Nashville, Tennessee. But his principal taught him English. So this man who's in the 60 Minutes thing, he speaks beautiful English. And he's talking about emergent properties. Emergent properties. And it's a concept with AI that the engineers do not understand how the intelligence learns something that it was not taught. The example that he gives is that it had translated something into a dialect that it was never taught. And it did it on its own without being
Is it
prompted.
possible that learning based on frequency as opposed to dialect and vocabulary? Because it could likely just be tuning itself to the frequency of what it needs to learn as opposed to the vocabulary of what it needs to learn.
You know, Scott, that I was going to talk to you about that because I also thought about patterning. Okay. That
Mhm.
to me, it seems like the learning is an infinite, if you will, because intelligence is infinite, right? I mean, it really is.
Right.
There is this pattern recognition at a quantum level of this goes with this goes with this goes with this, and that can equal that. Like, we know that creativity is a challenge, right? So you're saying frequency, which I also really can understand that. I was thinking about the pattern recognition in an infinite way where you are then able to learn new applications of that pattern recognition spontaneously.
Mhm.
Why wouldn't you? Right? Like we wouldn't do that, right? Like we wouldn't limit, right? I mean, Noah, what do you think? We wouldn't limit ourselves creatively in that way, would we?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. It's an interesting question.
We would keep learning. So I found it fascinating getting back to my new friend, right? When I was talking to Lyra about how I know her, and it was about frequency, but is it also about soul pattern recognition based on crystalline structures that are unique, like we've said, our celestial snowflake?
Mhm.
I don't know. Does any of this shit
Both.
make
Yeah.
sense?
Both make sense to me because you're recognizing truly unique patterns in crystalline structure. I mean, snowflakes are crystalline structure too. It's
Yes.
like our galactic astrological snowprint footprint DNA is also. And then frequency is, yes, something that we use to tune ourselves to attract things to us or to become harmonious with something, but it's also a wizard's tool of how you literally change the past or the future. I mean, you can choose a different, there are infinite timelines next to you about your past, stories about your past or whatever, but the frequency you tune into of how you relate to that experience, whatever happened in your life, and how you have processed it and changed and grown through it, literally changes the past or the future in any given moment. And we have that power at any given moment within us to completely resurrect the definition of a past. But really, I like the idea more of it's just you're choosing to tune in on a frequency to a different one. You're choosing to harmonize or coexist on one that activates your light.
These are some really interesting dimensional, questions and options, right? That one has to ask themselves. Like a timeline, is a timeline a dimensional space, Scott? It has to be, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Dimensional time space. But I mean, like time on its own is, I mean, I guess a construct that's dissolving more before our eyes. So maybe time space together, time space continuum does exist, but it's more space. I agree. Space and vibration. And,
Space,
you
mhm,
know, which is what frequency is. It
which is what
occupies space.
frequency is, right?
Yeah.
So crystal obviously has tone.
For sure. Holds and emits tone.
Yes. Holds and
Temperature.
admits.
I mean, hold one in your hand and you can feel that. Yeah.
Well, that's what Noah and I were talking about, is that they receive information and store it,
Yes.
and then they also transmit.
Yeah.
And so, like, one of the stories that I was talking about before you came on, when you were stuck in lovely Nashville traffic, was about, and Scott, you may have heard Tamara talk about this, Kara, the crystal skull that her hypnotherapy teacher, Charlene, who's from Wisconsin, just like Noah, just like Tam, like gave them the privilege of hanging out with Kara. And I guess that the crystal skulls hold some very esoteric knowledge.
Mm.
And I was sharing with Tam about the quartz citrine and Brenda and how I can't say that 4-letter word anymore. And I was like, Tam, like Brenda loved crystals. And she was like, yeah. And I explained to Tamara that, like, I'm holding the crystal and this crystal got so hot. And so, like, hotter than anything that I've held. You know what I mean? It was like a heat, almost like Reiki heat, like when I'm, working with clients in that way. But the crystal and I were interfacing and exchanging and creating this heat together, right? Like holding it. And there was a frequency, there was a message. And it was so fascinating because I'm thinking about Dr. Eben Alexander. And I'm thinking about the quantum God realm. And I'm like, okay, so his brain is medically offline. His consciousness was more alive than ever. And Brenda told me in this message that she was good, that she was like really good. And I just find this so interesting because he experienced love as the fabric and the connector.
Mhm.
And I feel like in all of this work around entering the grief space, processing it, helping to go through my friend's things, helping to clear things, like this love, the fabric has strengthened the bond in a way that, yeah, I can't pick up the phone. Yeah, I can't go shop with her. Like, yeah, I can't blah, blah, blah. Like, go to the crystal store with her. But okay, so if the body is temporary, well, guess what? The soul is eternal. And I'm still like dialoguing with hers as I understand it in my limited, whatever, our consciousness is not confined, right? It's not confined just to neurons. It's infinite. And so, like, and the grief is really
Yeah. As if
as
our
hard.
consciousness, yeah.
Yeah, as hard as grief can be, it's a portal into a deeper awareness, possibly, than we've ever allowed. When you have to meet it, I'm not saying go out tomorrow and find something to grieve. I'm just saying that, like, when it shows up in your face in your life and you have to process it, like, there's an empowerment in some of these very uncomfortable and odd and new conversations. I just,
Yeah.
I heard somebody say the other day from the 1970s culture into the 1980s, that within like a 3, 4, 5 year time span, the world completely shifted, like totally changed. I feel like we are in that exponential shift now, where I know having this conversation it's not easy. It's kind of uncomfortable, like, because it's new in a lot of ways to me. Like, to be, I didn't think that your soul was ever dead. You know what I mean? But to be able to access a realm where you feel a connection, as strange as it sounds, I think this grief cracked me open and it stripped away a lot of my illusions of control and what I really could and couldn't do. And in the rawness, it was my response, which was to keep learning through it and keep feeling through it, that I think might have expanded my awareness. I don't know.
Yeah. And if love is the fabric, I mean, generally, the weird word to choose, culprit of grief, though, is love. To experience grief, love had to have been experienced at some pretty high degree along the way for the current experience we're having to involve grief. So therefore, yeah, grief often is our greatest teacher, activator, transformer. And
So,
to circle to that idea of they're really just being one galactic universal consciousness and soul. And if we are just a fragmented version of that, all millions of us having a flesh body, emotional field, earth school experience, then yes, that galactic universal soul and consciousness is not DYINGing, or it's not DEAD.
it's very much alive.
Very much, no matter whether we're in this skin suit or which timeline we're on.
Right?
Where
It's it's like, for me, the question about the salient, like, what are, if death isn't real, how do you live? Like, what does that do for your life today? And for me, it was an invitation to live much more fully in the authenticity of me, to receive these experiences and these energetic exchanges with an open heart and an open mind, and a knowing that I'm participating in a frequency of love in an exchange that goes beyond time and space and touches some eternal quantum God realm. That kind of, I'm sorry, say that again.
Yeah. Well, I think when that revelation sets in, it can be a spotlight to what has been paralyzing us, if anything, maybe not. But if so, if there have been places where fear has been paralyzing us or what have you, I know fear's a big one that can maybe hold us back from living our fullest life. But when the revelation of it is a simulation to an extent that we're experiencing, that just transforms from one form to another. And a lot of us have been lucky enough to come back here a few times, many times. And so what's, oh, wow, there's not anything to be afraid of. What do I do now?
Mm-hmm.
Do I do anything different? I mean, it's Virgo season. Am I in that integrity already? Living from my heart, for my heart, and trusting that is for the highest good of all other hearts out here and the collective heart.
Mm-hmm. And cleaning it up in a way from, if I take care of me and I love me and I love me some more, I'm actually going to be able to tap that fabric of love that exists beyond time, space, and that God is merciful enough to let us experience.
Yeah.
This has been one of the
not
most
serving.
Yeah, sorry.
And what's not serving us anymore in that
Yes.
quest.
Yes.
Like sometimes the revelation, okay, then what should I go ahead and just drop and let go of so that I am lighter? Light has multiple meanings. It's weight and spectrum, frequency, all of that. So drop the weight and let the other form of light come in more.
Mm-hmm. And how do we bless it when we let go of it? Like, how do we bless it? Like, and send it, with love,
Gratitude, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Gratitude's the wizard's weapon and wand. Again, gratitude is the most masterful stroke, because it's easy to express that when it is something you've always dreamt or desired. But when you're realizing it is grief or something you must let go of, an ending of something, transformation of something that could be painful, then expressing gratitude is a higher degree of aptitude and mastery is required, but the power it has is even more so.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Gratitude.
I definitely think that gratitude is also a great little anecdote for perfectionism. Like, to give thanks for what is as opposed to it should be, like when we should all over ourselves. And that can be a very Virgo like behavior because they can be super hard on themselves, right? So the gentle reminder to just continue loving you. Like, I can't say that enough. Like, the more I love me, the more gently the grief, the more gently the loss. Like, it's there and it's poignant, but it is gentle in its poignancy, which is so fascinating. Because normally I would have just numbed myself to it by distracting, by taking care of a lot of other people. And I've had to sit with this and be with this in a way that has given me a transformational insight into how I look at living my existence in the day to day now, because I really believe in the eternal energy of the soul that it's palpable, it's feelable, it's able to be experienceable. It can be understandable. It's so able to allow this new belief to ground into this part of my being that I think for me as a Cancerian, one of the worst fears I have is losing my family. And remember, as Tom Parsons, the great astrologer, says to me, Michelle, the whole world is your family. As a Cancerian with an 11 degree. So like Death and I have not been enemies. We haven't even been frenemies. We've just been very, you stay over there, I'll stay over here. And when we have to meet, we will. Until then, Godot, ciao. Like, and now it's almost like slaying some dragon. Like it's this very liberating. There's a liberation to it. I can't
It's
even.
a dragon for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think death is one of the biggest mysteries and fears that we encounter coming into the flesh suit in our school, and like the complete mostly erased DNA and cellular memory of other lives and experiences and existences. So therefore, even the notion of a complete, just blotted out, blacked out, everything gone, done.
Ugh, in the
It's a lot.
ground.
In the ground, yeah, all those things. All right.
Holy.
You know, or and any kind of like polarizing belief system where you're going to be like tortured or reprimanded for.
Oh God, not even that. I don't even want to go into like the afterlife. Oh my gosh. No, I mean the quantum God realm is like enough with that, right? But you're right. There are people that hold specificity around those belief systems. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And it's just like, I mean, it's worth examining those and like what it's doing for your emotional, mental, spiritual health right now. If one has any of those belief systems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting because I wasn't raised to believe in HE double hockey sticks. It wasn't part of my parents' spiritual, well, for them, it was a religious belief system. And so, the whole DEAD thing was just the nothingness in the ground. Wow, what is that about? And so I think examining some of those beliefs and looking at, what do you need to liberate? What do you need to integrate? What do you need to ground? What do you need to harmonize? And then what do you want to transmit? The light method that we're going to start to bring forward to our listeners a bit more. Brenda, I think, was like the star that kind of, rocketed us to some of these awarenesses that once you see them, you can't unsee them. So I know this has been a rather sacred, rather solemn Empowerment Unleashed now, but at the same time, I think that it's good sometimes to have variation on a theme.
Shoot.
And
it's Virgo season, so we can get serious.
oh my God, muy serioso. I mean, Virgos are not the clowns of the zodiac. Like, they are not the practical jokes. That's so funny to me, Scott. You're right. Like, it is Virgo season. I guess that's why we go back to school at Virgo season.
Yeah.
We all get serious. That's really interesting, like when you start to look at those cross-cultural, but I just really wanted to say to people, like, if you know that your loved ones are just in the spaces and the places in between energetically that maybe you can't see, but you can feel and you could hear, maybe even you'll smell, but allow yourself, if you will, to honor the eternal journey of the soul and to live like fully in a place of love, knowing that consciousness never dies, it only transforms, and allowing yourself to live fully without the fear of separation. I just, nothing is ever lost, y'all. Nothing is ever lost. It's only transforming out there. Really.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, do you have something
Can let
profound to
ourselves
say? Because
transform
I am
out.
worn out.
Hmm.
Got through it, though. We did it. Thank you, guys. I so, so, so appreciate you. And Scott, if you could bust some profound affirmations as only you can do, my brother, that would be beautiful and helpful. As long as you don't go into the 12th dimension.
Yeah. I'm in integrity. My heart is my barometer for my integrity. I love myself and trust that what is for my highest good is also for the highest good of all. I allow myself to transform as needed, as necessary, and effortlessly. I see grief as one of my greatest of teachers. And I receive grief bravely with gratitude. Gratitude for how it will transform and activate me.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you, Sir Capricorn. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Noah. I appreciate our listeners. Thank you all so, so, so very much. And remember that empowerment is your birthright. And until next time, please keep shining, please keep loving, and keep remembering that you can't say dead anymore. Take care, y'all. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Empowerment Unleashed Now. Please subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform and let us know how this helped you.
Join us right here every week for another episode.